Greetings. I am the president of Fertig Christian Trust Foundation, which provides scholarships for children and produces books and inspirational films. I established this foundation in honor of my wife, Miriam, who you see here. This was taken about 20 years ago. She's beautiful, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. She was a fantastic educator for many decades. The students loved her. Thousands of students have a long career because of what she taught them. Miraculous is a book that I produced, which supports the funding for the foundation. And then I produced a movie based on Miraculous, which blends the gritty realism of the movie Hacksaw Ridge. I think that was with Clint Eastwood, with the spiritual impact of the Passion of Christ by Mel Gibson. This is a true story of indestructible faith during World War II, based on the book written by Fertig. The Marines called him the Padre of Guadalcanal. So during the chaos of World War II in the Pacific, Navy Chaplain Fertig defies all to rescue and protect a near-death 6-year-old girl. As the Guadalcanal jungle explodes under relentless Japanese attacks, the bond between the child and Padre is a symbol of unbreakable love. By the way, the heroes of Guadalcanal won more medals of honor than any other heroes during all the battles of World War II. He was the first chaplain to receive the Legion of Merit from the President of the United States. Reverend Gehring was my cousin. We attended the same St. John's School in Brooklyn. He was one generation ahead of me, however. His sister, which was my art teacher at St. John's, told me numerous stories about his missions in Asia. He used to take me across the street to their home, and she would talk to me about his missions and give me some cookies and milk. His original book, published around 1962, focused on the China missions and a little bit about Patsy Lee, but he didn't identify the source of these miracles. And the reason is that the Catholic Church, does not approve of these miracles unless they're scientifically investigated. I published this story after speaking directly with Patsy Lee, who is about 85 years old now. We researched the archives at the mission in Germantown. I slept there with the priests for 2 nights and 2 days. So it's based on Reverend Gehring's work. Our screenplay focuses on the Guadalcanal mission. The book includes these listed 7 chapters. We ignored his adventures in China and the great battles between the communists and the nationalists and the Japanese to focus on Father Fred's Guadalcanal mission. The Padre defied all reason and risk to protect this child, shield this child of 6 from the chaos of war battles in the Pacific. Armed with his faith and unwavering belief in Christ, the Padre sets out on a mission to save the child from the terror of war and despair. As bombs fall and the enemy closes in, he places what is known as a miraculous medal around her neck while praying for intervention of the Blessed Mother of Christ. He prayed all night long with 3 natives. Also, her biological mother, Ruth Lee, never gives up the search for her child. This story also shows the unwavering power of love between 3 people: the Padre, the child, and the mother, searching for her child during nearly a decade. The U.S. and its allies were losing the war in the Pacific. It was becoming a bloody fight over control of a series of islands. U.S. Marines captured the strategic airstrip known as Henderson Field. in the Solomon Islands. The Marines, however, lacked supplies and were overwhelmed by superior, well-trained, jungle-trained enemy forces. The Japanese are determined to take it back at any cost. Henderson Field was critical during the war to block access to and from Australia. So this 6-year-old child was found on the beach. She wasn't breathing. She was in a coma, I suppose. And Father Gehring put a blessed miraculous medal around her neck while praying all night long, as I said. A few weeks later, when she recovered, she was hiding under the hospital tent tables when doctors and nurses moved urgently among the wounded as exploding shells were coming in from Japanese ships. Dr. Delaney, who helped to bring Patsy back to life, was among the surgeons. He prepared to operate after the patients are blessed by the Padre. Suddenly, a Japanese shell crashed through the tent. Amazingly, it never exploded. Now, the miraculous medal was introduced by St. Catherine Labor in 1830 on the eve of the feast of St. Vincent de Paul. She woke up after hearing the voice of a child calling her, leading her to the chapel. There, she was shocked to find the Virgin Mary of Christ appeared sitting in the chapel. The Virgin Mary said to her, "God wishes to charge you with a mission to create a miraculous medal." Thousands and thousands of injured people were saved by this miraculous medal. A dozen men were in Padre's foxhole with Patsy when the Japanese unleashed a midnight vicious attack. Reverend Gehring protectively huddled over the child. Officer Gene Mockley's foxhole had a direct hit immediately after he jumped into the foxhole with Padre and Patsy. Gene Mockley later, based on this miraculous near-death experience, became an advocate for and a promoter of Christianity. Patsy keeps every Marine soldier safe who is physically close to her wherever she goes on a Marine base with the Padre. Ultimately, the Marines agree with Reverend Gehring and give her his Chinese name, which is Lee, and they call her by the American name Patsy Lee. A decade later, it is discovered that that is her actual real name, Patsy Lee. Against all odds, the Marines ultimately win the final battles on Guadalcanal, and the Japanese forces are defeated by Admiral, middle name Bull Halsey. You can see that from his face that he is a tough leader. Ultimately, the mother finds Patsy after a decade of frustration, searching everywhere. She searched in China, in hospitals and prisons. Finally, she saw a New York Times article and a picture of a child. She thought that might be her. She communicated with Father Gehring by mail, and he said, "No, it's impossible that she could be your child." But he said, "Okay, if you want to go and check it out, she's located at a Catholic mission on an island. She was evacuated as a war victim there to protect her." Now, the proof that if she is Patsy Lee was based on her handwriting. She had a distinctive way of writing letters in her earlier mail correspondence. So the mother gave her a test of writing with some other children. The passionate and emotional mother, after she saw the handwriting of Patsy, she screamed, "She is my child." After that emotional meeting, the real drama began between the mother and the now teenage child. Patsy does not recognize her mother as a teenager. and absolutely refuses to accept her, which causes severe emotional grief for Ruth Lee. Weeks or months later, Father Gehring finds a solution to the clashes and disillusionment between mother and child. He reads to Patsy, who is now about 18 or 19 years old, the story of baby Moses, who was placed in a basket on a river to save him from death. Many decades later, Moses was reunited with his mother. Patsy Lee finally realizes that the self-sacrificing power of real love of her mother for her, and she accepted her. And Ruth Lee attends Patsy's graduation from college and later her wedding festivities. These photos are from the archives which I researched. She happened to marry a man by the name of Mr. Lee. Patsy Lee became an excellent nurse. Decades later, curiosity led Patsy to do a DNA test on her mother. Shockingly, the DNA test suggests or proves that Ruth Lee was not her biological mother. Now, Father Gehring, my cousin, carried around with him a true relic of the cross of Christ. His parents gave it to him when he went to China. They got this certified fragment of the true cross, was handed down from the family from the Crusades hundreds of years ago. By the way, Patsy decided to keep the DNA secret while her aged mother was still living, out of respect for her. Here is the final resting place for the Padre of Guadalcanal. You can see Patsy Lee in the background in the white shirt. The conclusion here is that a mother and father's love is not merely biological. It is selfless love that should always bind children and parents together forever. Let me give you the status of our current film production. Our team is actively moving ahead with the film. Mel Gibson's father, by the way, served in Guadalcanal, and we would like to have him as the producer and director. And he's busy right now with a major film about the resurrection of Christ. So this will be a war drama, historical and faith-based. The funds initially will partly support the foundation scholarships. I would guess that 25-30% of the funds that I received will support the scholarships for children. The movie and trailer is currently finalized. Backing funds are being provided, initial funds from crowdfunding campaign. We have an active line producer. We hired a producer. Mel Gibson has not agreed to the film as yet. We haven't even presented it to him. The targeted movie studio is confidential, but it's already established. And the main consultants and production company are Worldwide Publicists. They're headquartered in Florida. Our production budget is set for $25 to $50 million. Our team is actively moving ahead. Again, Fertig Christian Trust is a foundation, it's a charity, and part of these funds from the film will be used to provide hundreds of more scholarships for children. Thank you for your attention.